There is a biblical code to wealth. This statement may sound bold to some, but when we observe the wisdom contained in the scriptures and the way great thinkers like Napoleon Hill structured their teachings, we realize there is a profound connection. The Bible is not just a spiritual book. It is also a practical life manual that reveals eternal principles of success, prosperity, and financial freedom. Many seek quick fixes for their debts and financial failures, but they ignore the spiritual truths that, if applied with faith and discipline, can completely transform anyone's life. Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, spent over 2 decades studying the greatest millionaires of his time. But what few people know is that many of the principles he systematized have origins deeply aligned with biblical wisdom. When I found myself drowning in debt, confused, and without direction, I decided to apply these truths not as magic formulas, but as life principles. It was the union of faith and action, of spirituality and strategy, that paved the way for my definitive financial liberation. The first step was to understand that everything begins with a purpose. The Bible states in Proverbs that where there is no vision, the people perish. And Napoleon Hill translated this as a definite purpose, the heart of all achievement. I had to sit down, reflect deeply, and write down exactly what I wanted. To achieve why and for whom. The clarity of purpose began to move me with more force than any debt or fear. Focus freed me from confusion and began to channel my energy. Soon after, I was confronted with the responsibility to faithfully manage the little I had. It's tempting to wait for a financial miracle without first demonstrating maturity with the little you possess. Jesus taught that whoever is faithful with little will be entrusted with much. This made me reorganize my finances seriously. Every penny was given a destination. My habits changed. I abandoned impulse and embraced planning. What seemed like little began to yield, like the widow's oil that never ran out. I also discovered the supernatural power of generosity. For many years, I saw tithing and offerings as an obligation or even a burden. But in Malachi, God promises to open the floodgates of heaven for those who give with faith. And Jesus said, "Give, and it will be given to you." When I started giving back to God a portion of what I received, even in scarcity, I experienced doors opening in ways I cannot logically explain. People began to approach me with unexpected opportunities. God's favor started to accompany my steps. Another crucial point was developing discipline. The Bible values the diligent, the one who works with excellence and consistency. Napoleon Hill said that success only comes to those who are willing to do more than expected. So I started waking up early, studying more, working better, and stopping procrastination. Discipline, which once seemed like a burden, became the greatest gift I gave myself. With it, I gained respect, opportunities, and real growth. But none of this matters if you are trapped by fear. Fear is the greatest thief of wealth. The Bible says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And Hill reinforced that all human limitations begin in the mind, with negative thoughts and fear of failure. I had to train my mind to believe in the best, to expect miracles, and to act with courage. Every time I confronted a fear, a new door opened. I also learned that wisdom in investing is essential. Ecclesiastes advises dividing your resources into 7 or even 8 parts. This is diversification. I began to study finance, investments, and business, and to apply what I learned with prudence. I realized it's not just about earning more, but about wisely managing what you have. The Bible and Hill agree. Applied knowledge is power. Another profound transformation came when I became more selective about the people I associated with. The Bible teaches that bad company corrupts good character. And Hill spoke of the mastermind, the union with like-minded individuals. I had to step away from defeatist conversations, from people who always complain, and get closer to people who dream, act, and live with faith. These connections inspired me, challenged me, and helped me grow. Changing my speech was also essential. I began to declare every day that I was prosperous, that I was getting out of debt, that God was opening pathways. This was not self-deception. It was aligning with the Word. Jesus said that if we believe and speak, we will see the impossible happen. Hill called this autosuggestion. The truth is that words shape realities. The mouth has the power to bless or to curse. Mastering my desires was another challenge. In a world that encouraged rampant consumerism, I learned from James that we are dragged away by our own desires. I became intentional with every purchase. I learned to say no. No to the superfluous, to impulse, to what does not edify. I started investing in what truly brings a return in myself, in knowledge and relationships, and of course, some assets. None of this would be sustainable without patience and persistence. We live in the everything now generation, but Hebrews says that we need perseverance to receive the promise. It took me months, sometimes years, to see solid results. But every penny saved, every wise decision, every prayer made in faith, added up to take me from a place of scarcity to a place of stability and growth. Today, I look back and see that these 10 keys are more than financial strategies. They are spiritual principles that transform lives. It doesn't matter how deep the pit of debt or despair is. Applying these fundamentals can create a new beginning. Hill brought to the business world what the Bible already taught, that true wealth begins in the mind and spirit. And the most powerful part of it all is that I was not just freed from debt, I was trained never to return to it. Because the true victory is not just leaving the desert, but learning to live in the promised land. This journey is continuous, full of challenges, but now I know that I carry with me the tools to win every single day. If you are reading this and feel trapped with no way out, I want to remind you, there is a way, there is a code. It was left by God, tested by giants of faith, and confirmed by men like Napoleon Hill. It is not too late for you to start. It doesn't matter how much you owe, how much you earn, or how much you have failed. Everything changes when you decide to apply the truth, when you put your faith into action. When you recognize that wealth is more than money, it is freedom, purpose, generosity, and peace. The keys are before you. All that's left is to turn them with courage. And this is just the surface. There are still other codes, other principles hidden in the pages of the scriptures and between the lines of Think and Grow Rich that reveal the path to a life not just without debt, but with supernatural abundance, beyond these 10 keys that transform my life. There is an invitation to delve even deeper into the mystery of spiritual and material prosperity. For true wealth is not limited to money in the bank, but involves a sacred balance between mind, spirit, and practical action. The Bible, with its ancient wisdom, and Napoleon Hill, with his clear methodology, show us that the path to abundance is a holistic journey where faith, discipline, and knowledge walk side by side. Another principle worth highlighting is that of constant gratitude. In 1 Thessalonians, we are exhorted to give thanks in all circumstances. Gratitude changes our perception and attracts more reasons to be thankful. When I began to give thanks not for what I had, but for what was to come, my mind opened to new possibilities. Prosperity came as a natural response to this attitude, as gratitude elevates our vibration and connects us to the divine flow of provision. Furthermore, the importance of serving others cannot be underestimated. Jesus taught that it is more blessed to give than to receive. By focusing on helping, on serving with my heart, I created a virtuous cycle that returned to me multiplied. Napoleon Hill also highlighted the power of the mastermind and connections, but emphasized that these relationships only flourish when based on genuine contribution, not on the selfish pursuit of personal gain. I also learned that rest and renewal are fundamental to maintaining productivity and wisdom. The Bible teaches about the Sabbath, the sacred time for pause and renewal. We often think that working incessantly is the way out of difficulties, but wisdom lies in balancing work and rest, allowing our minds and bodies to re-energize to continue. Fighting with clarity and strength, in moments of doubt, I turn to prayer and meditation on the Word. A daily connection with God strengthens my faith, gives me direction, and renews my courage. Napoleon Hill spoke of the importance of the subconscious mind. The Bible speaks of the renewal of the mind. When I aligned these two concepts, my financial vision expanded beyond what I could imagine. In the end, true wealth is a legacy. It's not just about what we accumulate, but what we leave for the next generation. Values, faith, habits, and the ability to dream. Hill wrote about the power of a burning desire. The Bible speaks of training our children in the way they should go. This union of principles creates a prosperous future, not only for us, but for all our descendants. If you feel this message touches your heart, know that it is time to act. The biblical code to wealth is within your reach. Do not allow fear or doubt to stop you from using these powerful keys. Transformation is one step away from a decision. Apply these principles with unwavering faith, persistence, and wisdom, and watch your life be renewed. And remember, this journey does not end here. There are many other secrets stored in the Scriptures and in the works of the masters of the prosperous mind. I invite you to continue exploring, growing, and conquering. The abundance you seek is also an invitation to be a light and inspiration in the lives of others. The story of financial freedom is written every day, and yours could be the next. To inspire the world, as we advance on this journey of financial and spiritual transformation, it becomes clear that the path to prosperity is also a path of character. The Bible does not hide the fact that riches can be a test, a trial that reveals the true heart. The Apostle Paul wrote that the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, but not wealth itself. Money is a neutral tool that can build or destroy, depending on how we use it. Napoleon Hill warned against the danger of greed and the relentless pursuit of profit at any cost. The biblical code to wealth, therefore, is a call to a balanced life, where prosperity is achieved with integrity, honesty, and a purpose greater than just accumulating possessions. This protects us from the traps that many encounter along the way, ensuring that our financial freedom does not come with inner emptiness. Another fundamental aspect is active faith. The Bible teaches us to pray without ceasing and to trust, even when circumstances are challenging. Hill speaks of the power of faith as the invisible force that moves mountains and breaks barriers. I experienced this myself when, in moments of crisis, I decided not to surrender to despair, but to keep my trust alive. It was this faith, combined with concrete actions, that opened doors where there were only walls before. I also learned that continuous learning is indispensable. In Proverbs, wisdom is exalted as a treasure greater than gold and silver. Napoleon Hill dedicated his life to studying the habits and mindsets of the successful, and I followed his example by investing time and resources in my financial, emotional, and spiritual education. Lasting wealth requires constant growth, and whoever stops learning, the importance of emotional and mental health cannot be ignored either. Financial stress is one of the greatest enemies of inner peace. The Bible talks about casting all our anxiety on God because He cares for us. When I started practicing detachment from excessive worries and cultivating trust, my mind was freed from the weight that prevented me from thinking clearly and acting wisely. Finally, I understood that true abundance manifests in the ability to impact lives. Wealth is not an end in itself, but a means to serve, bless, and leave a legacy that transcends generations. Whether through supporting family, social projects, ministries, or purpose-driven entrepreneurship, every step towards prosperity is an opportunity to be an instrument of change. Therefore, I invite you not only to seek material wealth, but to build a full life aligned with these eternal principles. The biblical code to wealth is alive and pulsating in every wise decision, in every act of faith, and in every moment of generosity. The journey may be long, but every step is worth it. For by treading this path, you will not only be getting out of debt, you will be entering a new dimension of life, where prosperity, purpose, and peace walk together. And the journey continues. There is much more to discover, practice, and share. Prepare to go beyond what you ever imagined. A more concise, thematic summary of the same principles follows. Upon understanding that a biblical code to wealth exists, I began to realize that financial transformation requires much more than simple techniques or methods. It is a profound change of mindset and spirit. The first secret to this transformation lies in genuine faith, a faith that is not limited to superficial beliefs but translates into daily actions and firm commitments. Without this faith, any financial plan becomes merely a sandcastle, vulnerable to life's storms. This faith must be accompanied by a clear and definite purpose. In Jeremiah 29:11, God promises plans for peace and hope for those who trust in Him. Napoleon Hill emphasized that clarity of purpose is the spark that ignites the fire of achievement. Writing down my goals, visualizing them daily, and feeling a burning desire to reach them was the first concrete action to leave the scarcity zone. Faithfully managing what we have, however small, is another powerful principle. The parable of the talents teaches that God rewards faithfulness and wisdom in stewardship. I transformed my financial routine by establishing a strict budget, eliminating waste, and always seeking to do the best with what little I had. This financial discipline not only cut my unnecessary spending but also taught me the value of every penny. Generosity, though it may seem contradictory for someone in debt, proved to be an essential key. Giving with faith, even when it seemed there was nothing left, opened invisible windows of provision. I discovered that the act of giving generates a positive current of blessings and opportunities because it demonstrates trust in divine provision and the cycle of abundance. Developing discipline was one of the greatest challenges. The consistency in applying healthy financial habits, studying, working, and resisting the temptations of immediate consumption required willpower. Each day dedicated to financial progress was a battle won against procrastination and complacency. Over time, discipline became my greatest ally. Fear, which paralyzes and steals hope, had to be faced head-on. The Bible reminds us that God's Spirit gives us power, love, and a sound mind, not fear. When I began to replace negative thoughts with affirmations of courage and faith, I noticed an inner transformation. Courage does not eliminate challenges, but it provides the strength to face them with wisdom. Wisdom in applying resources is another crucial principle. Ecclesiastes teaches to divide what you have, invest with prudence, and diversify to avoid losses. Learning about finance, the market, investments, and business opportunities became part of my daily life. With knowledge and caution, money began to work for me, not the other way around. Surrounding myself with people who inspire, challenge, and support was a fundamental change. Napoleon Hill called this group a mastermind minds united by common goals and a spirit of growth. I moved away from negative influences and sought company that shared my faith, values, and dreams. These connections brought motivation, insights, and doors I never imagined. Positive speech and autosuggestion were powerful tools. Declaring my prosperity, my achievements, and my worth before God and the world aloud reinforced my commitment and altered my perception. Words have creative power, and by choosing them carefully, I aligned my spirit and mind for success. Controlling desires and consumerism was a constant struggle. I learned to discern between real needs and momentary wants. Every purchase became a conscious decision, guided by the return and the impact it would have on my financial life. This emotional restraint prevented unnecessary debt and accelerated my path to freedom. Patience, persistence, and resilience were pillars for maintaining long-term focus. The Bible encourages us not to grow weary and to persevere, for the harvest comes at the right time. It was not a quick journey. It was months and years of continuous effort, adjustments, and learning. But the reward was worth every sacrifice. Gratitude transformed my mind and heart. Thanking not only for what I had, but for what was to come opened my spirit to the divine flow of abundance. This attitude raised my vibration and created a fertile environment for blessings to flourish in my life. Serving others became a mission that gave meaning to my wealth. The Bible teaches that the greatest treasure lies in blessing lives. When I put my resources at the service of causes greater than myself, I received in return a satisfaction that no money could buy. This exchange of giving and receiving strengthened my soul and broadened my vision. Rest and renewal were essential discoveries. The body and mind need breaks to maintain productivity and clarity. Following the biblical principle of the Sabbath, that is, setting aside moments to stop, reflect, and recharge, helped me avoid burnout and maintain integral health. Prayer and daily meditation on the Word strengthened my connection with God, bringing direction and courage for financial decisions. Aligning the conscious mind with the subconscious through these spiritual moments was one of the secrets to keeping hope alive even in the most difficult times. Investing in knowledge became a priority. Learning about finance management and investments, but also about personal and spiritual development, created a solid foundation for growth. Wisdom is a treasure that is not lost, and investing in oneself is the best way to ensure lasting prosperity. Emotional health began to be treated with seriousness. Dealing with financial and emotional stress, casting my anxieties upon God, and seeking help when necessary allowed me to think clearly and act with wisdom. Inner peace is an essential foundation for success. Recognizing that wealth is a legacy was one of the greatest revelations. It is not enough to accumulate assets. It is necessary to transmit values, faith, and habits to the next generations. This commitment motivated me to build a future not only for myself, but for my family and community. I understood that money is a tool and must serve a greater purpose. Wealth without purpose is empty and can be destructive. Aligning my finances with my values and mission brought meaning and fulfillment to my journey. Honesty and integrity became non-negotiable. The Bible warns against dishonest gains, and Hill stressed that true success is only sustained when built on these foundations. Maintaining my reputation was fundamental to gaining trust and opportunities. Learning to deal with failures and start over was essential. Every journey has obstacles, but the secret is not to give up. Every mistake was a lesson that made me stronger and wiser, bringing me ever closer to financial freedom. Trust in God, combined with action, was the engine that moved my life. I understood that faith without works is dead and that I need to act with determination, even when I don't see the whole path. With each step, I realized that He was already preparing the ground for my victory. Simplicity and humility helped me stay focused. Avoiding comparisons, pride, and financial vanity prevented distractions and traps. Remaining humble before God and others allowed me to learn and grow without losing my balance. Creating an environment conducive to prosperity, whether at home, at work, or in my relationships, was an important investment. Organization, discipline, and positive energy around me stimulated my productivity and attracted opportunities. Persisting in cultivating a mindset of abundance, even amid scarcity, was a constant struggle, refusing the victim mentality and embracing responsibility for my life put me in control of my financial destiny. A long-term vision kept me steadfast in moments of temptation and doubt. I remembered that the seeds I plant today are the harvest of tomorrow, and that every small step counts towards the great dream. Finally, I discovered that true wealth is multidimensional. It includes health, relationships, spirituality, and personal fulfillment in addition to money. Seeking balance in all these areas creates a full and sustainable life. Today, looking back, I see that getting out of debt and building prosperity was not an accident, but the result of applying an ancient, eternal, and powerful code, the biblical code to wealth. It does not promise ease, but it guarantees transformation. It does not sell instant miracles, but it delivers principles that change lives forever. If you are reading this, know that the keys are in your hands. The decision to use them is what determines your future. It doesn't matter where you are now. What matters is what you will do from this moment on. Abundance is for everyone who is willing to seek, learn, and act with faith and courage. That may you find on your journey the freedom that transforms not only your finances but your entire existence. May prosperity be the reflection of your faith, your discipline, and your greater purpose. And may this be just the first page of a story of success, blessings, and impact that will touch generations. The journey is yours. The code is there. Turn the keys, open the doors, and live the abundance you were created for.